Hey family, this is Shannon
And Demetrius.
we coming to you from Expert Pest Control. We just giving you another video. We dropping another video in our library for you to refer to. Today we're going to be talking about the raccoons.
The more nuisance wildlife, but this time it's gonna be the raccoons.
All right, so I'm gonna give it over to him because the most I do is say, hey, it's the raccoons out there trying to get in the garbage can, and then let him have it.
Mhm.
So y'all go ahead.
Okay, so a lot of people view raccoons as beautiful, and they are. Especially the little baby raccoons. They can be kind of playful. Like little kids, they kind of playful and fun and all this stuff. But the but the truth about the raccoon is that they are wild animals, and they need to be treated that way, and they need to be respected too. Bro. If you don't respect a wild animal, they can hurt you. So I'm going to talk about some of the myths and the truths about raccoons. One of the myths about raccoons is that they're vicious, and and uh, and they will attack you. That's a myth. A raccoon is not vicious, and they won't attack you unless they're sick. If there's something wrong with them, which we all that way. If I'm sick and somebody mess with me, I might attack you. So I mean, a raccoon is no different. If a raccoon is sick and you bother with a raccoon, he may attack you. So the myth about a raccoon is that they're vicious and they will attack you, and that's false. A raccoon will only attack is if you bother them with their babies. They won't attack all the time, but they will attack sometimes if you bother them with their babies, which any mother would. But the raccoon's behavior is actually docile and afraid. Which you could tell by when you bother with them, they urinate. That's a sign of fear. So their behavior is actually docile and afraid. Sometimes withdrawn. They don't want contact with you. But they are wild animals. So whenever you encounter a raccoon, you need to respect it. You don't need to be afraid of it. Just respect it. If a raccoon inside your house, you don't want to deal with him. You need to call a professional, someone who's familiar with raccoons. Not your uncle or your brother, unless they're exterminators, licensed exterminators, and licensed trappers. Other than that, they don't need to deal with a raccoon because it can be kind of dangerous. Because a raccoon, you back them into a corner, they will try to fight their way out. Because anyone who's afraid, if you back them into a corner, they're gonna try to fight their way out. And a raccoon is not no different. If you back him into a corner, he's gonna want to fight his way out. So anytime you encounter a raccoon, any kind of wild animal, a raccoon, you definitely want to call a professional to deal with the raccoon and make sure that the person that you hire to deal with this raccoon is qualified. And know what they're doing. Check their credentials. Don't just let anyone inside your home. Check their credentials to make sure they're qualified and licensed and know what they're doing before they come in here dealing with this animal. Because if the animal get loose inside your house, he can be dangerous to you and your family. All the domestic animals, no one is safe. So you need to respect this animal and give him his space. Whenever you see him, you don't want to even with the babies. Even though they're cute, look cuddly, and you want to keep them. The truth about them is they are wild animals, and they need to be respected, and they don't need to be trying to kept like they're a dog, like they're domestic. You can't keep them that way because a raccoon is not gonna stay around. Even though they will remember you, they're not gonna stay around. They're gonna exhibit the behavior of a wild animal, and they're gonna want to go to where their environment is, which is not in your kitchen or basement. So you need to respect these animals and give them their space and not try to domesticate them.
Well, what kind of places do they usually come into your home? When we get calls from people, what are they saying?
Yeah, well, raccoons they like to come through chimneys. They come through chimneys a whole lot. If you got a dome on top of your roof, a raccoon will lift that dome and come through it. Even those small vents, they'll lift those vents and they come through the vents. They'll tear open the soffits and come through the soffits. Most of the time, it's during the time where they're having babies, where the mother is pregnant and she need to go somewhere to have the babies out of harm's way. Harm's way mean other raccoons, any kind of predator, coyote. You may get hawks that might want to take them babies. So the mother's job is to protect those babies and get them out of harm's way. And out of harm's way could mean inside your house somewhere. So if you encounter raccoons inside your house, you need to get a professional to get them out. And like I say, make sure they're qualified and not just somebody who say they know how to who know what they're doing, because it can be dangerous, can be a problem. So and make sure you in order for them not to go inside your chimney, you're gonna need to have your chimneys capped off. Put caps on your chimneys. Reinforce your soffits. Put caps over your domes. Whatever you got to do, because animals are getting worse every year because their environment is being taken away from them. People, builders, they're taking all the animals' environment away from them, which in turn is making them come into our house. So we need to protect our house against these animals. It's not their fault. It's just they got to survive, and God made it possible for them to survive, and that's how they do it. So we need to protect ourselves against these animals by reinforcing your house.
If we call you to come out to our house and say, for instance, say, okay, the raccoon, he just in the house and he in the bedroom or whatever, what can we expect when you get there that you're going to do, or what you're going to tell us over the phone to do until you get there, and what can we expect that you're going to do when you get there?
Well, the first thing that's gonna need to happen is that you're gonna have to block off the area. So if a raccoon is inside your bedroom, you're gonna have to close the door and reinforce that closed door. Don't just close the door, put something in front of it, because a raccoon can come through that door.
If it's in the chimney,
so
put something in front
if it's inside the chimney, block the chimney. Don't put your head in there and try to see if the flue open or close. Unless you know that it may be open. Block the entrance of the chimney so it can't enter into your house. Those are things you want to do. You don't want to deal with these raccoons because you really don't know if they're sick or not, and you don't want to find out by coming face to face with a dangerous raccoon. So you want to separate yourself from this wild animal and call a professional. And if you need any help, you can refer to us. If you say you don't want to deal with the raccoon, and you don't got the money. Let's say you don't got the money. Give us a call. We probably give you some information that may be helpful for you. But in the end, if a raccoon is close by, we probably gonna recommend that you need to get you a professional, because it could be dangerous for you and your family. So you want to respect these animals and give them their space. And that's it. We're gonna come to you probably in another day or two, and we're gonna give you some information on any kind of other animals or birds or bats or something like that. We want to give you information on all of that, so it'll help you deal with it and let you know whether you need a professional or not.
So each week we're gonna try to come to you with a different animal. Of course, if you need us, you give us a call, 216-255-8410 or 216-407-7544. You can like us on Facebook, and you can go to our website, which is www.expertpestcontrolcleveland.com. All right, and so if you have any questions, just give us a call. We'd be happy to help you and serve you. If something's going on, you hear something in the attic walking around, or it's probably a raccoon, get ready to have some baby. So give us a call, and we'll help you. All right, thanks. Bye-bye.